All right, all right. Let's get it started. You already know. Let's get the theme song on. You know the vibes. You already know. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pickup Game on the Jeff J Says YouTube channel. I'm Jeff Johnson. You're tapping in with the guy, Shawn with the W. He has 8 W's on his name. Fun fact, because the Knicks, 9, right? Excuse me?
Eight.
It is 8.
Eight.
Soon to be. Soon. 8 on his name right now.
Knock on wood.
9 hopefully coming tonight against the Pacers. He has one of the best gimmicks on Knicks Twitter. He puts a W after every W for the Knicks win streak. So that's my guy, Shawn. We're here to talk to you about NBA hoops. Specifically, we're talking about the All-Star game. Tonight, the All-Star reserves are going to be announced. And we're here to talk about it and give you our NBA All-Star reserve picks. Shawn, well, first of all, how are you? How are you doing? Let me be like, you know what I'm saying? Let's have manners. You'll have manners.
I mean, listen, I'm okay. The last time that I was on a platform with you, I was preparing for a rousing victory by one football team in Baltimore, which was not to pass. But you know, we move, and I learned that my coach is the Doc Rivers of the National Football League.
John Harbaugh, wow, that's crazy. The parallels are too crazy right now, too crazy. But you know, still we rise, and we'll rise like stars. Talking about these all-star reserves. Of course, the starters were announced last week, I believe, and we'll start with the East, where we have Dame and Tyrese Halliburton in the backcourt, and then Tatum, Embiid, and Giannis as the front court for our Eastern Conference All-Stars. The way these picks go with each conference, East and West, you get 3 guards, 3 forwards, and a wild card to make up your 7 bench.
I actually believe it's 2 guards, 3 front court players, and 2 wild
cards.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? Logically, that does make sense. I don't know why I saw 3-3. Well, I guess because of the way
that's what I thought too. But because it's basically it's like 2 guards, 2 forwards, a center, and then 2 wild card spots. But
so
they don't want to have
picking the all-star reserves and then the victory cigars that are supposed to come in at the end of the game. We're building out our bench similar to NBA roster. So okay, yes, 2 guards, 3 forwards, 2 wild cards. We got our 7. So Shawn, let's go through our picks and say who we got for the East All-Stars. I didn't see your picks. You haven't seen mine. So I'll let you go. First. Tell me who you got. Let's start with the guards. Who are your 2 guards, your 2 defs that you're in?
So the 2 definites that are in for guards are Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. Those are my 2 reserve guards. Brunson should be starting over as shout out to Lon Ray, who called him Super Max Speedy Claxton, aka Damian Lillard. It's still disrespectful. Shout out Hofstra.
And as I pointed out, damn, I don't got my banner. Damn, I can't pull out my banner. But as I pointed out, he cannot be Super Max Speedy Claxton because Speedy Claxton has an NBA title. So definitely shout out to Hofstra. Definitely shout out to the Hofstra pride. But yeah, he should be starting over Dame. I think we all know that. Fan vote. We won't get into the ins and outs of that.
We're not gonna do.
But I agree with
you.
I agree with you. I think Donovan definitely deserves a definite spot from me because he carried that Cavs team without Mobley, without Garland. That's been super annoying, especially if you're a Knicks fan, because you watch it and we're like, yo, can you guys fall off so that we can make a soul run, so the Knicks can make a soul run over to possibly 3rd, possibly 4th, possibly 2nd seed, and he's been keeping them afloat. Donovan Mitchell, NBA Player of the Month for the East. Probably narrowly edging out Jalen Brunson. And when you look at their numbers, they're pretty close.
Mm-hmm. The absolute like everyone thought once Garland and Mobley went down that Cleveland was cooked, and he has kept them afloat. Like they I think they won like 7 or 8 in a row themselves.
Yep.
So yeah, I think for me, I think that's pretty easy. Those two guards.
Yeah. January, Brunson, 28.9, 3.6 rebounds, 7 assists. Spider, 28.6, 5.2, 7.6. The efficiency numbers are, or I'd say the like percentages are pretty equal. 13-1 in January, Spider 11-2. They basically battling. They battling right now, something crazy. But I do think Jalen Brunson, what more needs to be said? What more? If the league is talking about how you probably should have been a starter, I think your all-star reserve spot should be locked in. So those are my two depths as well. All right, so we vibing so far for the East. Give me your 3 front court locks.
So this was harder than I thought because honestly, there aren't as many front court locks as I thought. So for me, one has to be Julius Randle. I don't give a rat's ass. I wanted to leave off Bam, but I really could not find 2 other guys. So for me, my front court is Julius Randle, Jaylen Brown, and Bam Adebayo. Those are my front court play. Those are my front court reserves.
And as I said before, y'all, we no lie, we did not look at each other's picks. We're going in with this. We're going in with this blind. Once again, we hit Randall, Adebayo,
Brown.
and Jaylen Brown. And if shout out to Jonathan Macri, who has a newsletter, Knicks Film School. Shout out to Knicks Film School. Shawn is also affiliated with. He has a great breakdown on why Julius Randle should be an all-star. My too long didn't read version between the counting stats, the advanced stats, and stats that should matter, like your team is winning, your team is competitive, they're in the top 3 now of the league. You play a majority of the games. He didn't miss a game. He missed 1 game of consideration, 2 if you want to count the last day the coaches could vote. I would assume the coaches would get these votes in before their games, but as somebody who's completed papers hours before they were due, I'm not one to judge. But he's durable. He plays all the games. His team is winning, and you can't really make a combined counting and advanced impact stat argument to me that any other forward should supplant him as at the very least as a definite for this, right? Now, let's go to our 2 wild cards, our 2 wild card picks. And I agree with you. Retweet you on Bam, retweet you on Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, I'm in the camp of rewarding winning, and the Celtics are the best team in the league. Jaylen Brown has a lot to do with that, so I definitely give them props there. Who's your 2 wild cards?
So one is easy. That's Tyrese Maxey.
Same.
Like, he could have started. He could have been the top guard reserve, whatever. The other, and like I said, I think there are less people deserving than I realized. You were kind of alluded to, the Celtics doing so well. I actually so they should have, I don't subscribe to this team is good. So how many of their guys should we get on the team?
Right.
So with that being said, my last spot actually goes to Kristaps Porzingis.
Ooh, I like over Derek White, because the Derek White campaign was going heavy based on his advanced stats and everything.
The Derek White campaign is nasty. This is the all-star game, not the all-reserve, not all-player game, okay? And Derek White is a role player. Now, that's not a bad thing. We have role players carrying our basketball team right now, right?
Right.
So, but I think that what they do in terms of the Celtics' success, I think Kristaps has more to do with that than Derek White does. Not that Derek White doesn't have something to do with it, because he does, because that backcourt defensively is nasty. But Kristaps, from game 1, we saw them. We were like, yo, this team's going to be a problem with this guy. He unlocks everything. So that's who I would go for.
I like that. I leaned. I'm not mad at yours. I went with Paolo Banchero because I wanted to give some props to the Magic for their initial success. I can understand. I know we've had this talk about Banchero and Wagner, and are they being properly rated? Are they being a little overrated based on their start? I've seen a lot from him where, and especially between this and I know it doesn't count, but watching him on Team USA, part of this is an entertainment pick for me. I'm gonna see people ball out, and while I'm not mad at Porzingis, this last one was really like the who do you want to see situation. So for me, I wanted to give a little love to the Magic for their start. You know, I know they're fighting in the play-in now, but they had a good start to the season, and I think Banchero, while he probably doesn't pass some of the stat tests, if you go to the numbers, I've seen him play, I watched him play, and I personally think, I'd love to see him in the game. But I wouldn't have been mad at him. I wouldn't be mad at him. I wouldn't be mad at KP. I wouldn't be mad at Derek White because I mean the argument that they're making based on the advanced stats and his impact on winning for the Celtics early on, I do think it's a lot, but it's significant enough where you gotta merit the discussion. Now we both put Randall on our list because I think it's a quick discussion. I don't think he should be penalized because he cannot appear in a game. Like you should not deny his recognition just because you know he's not going to be there. Like you invite people to parties that you know ain't going to show up or may not show up. That doesn't mean you feel like they should get an invite. You still send them an invite, right? Like you send them an invite to a party or you tell them that they could come through. You don't say, oh, well, they're in a cast. They may not want to show up. So I'm just not going to invite them. No, you still invite them. They still earned the invite. And I think in this case with Randall, he's earned that invite. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. What I would say is, like, for example, if Donovan Mitchell, God forbid, got hurt tomorrow, coaches ain't gonna be like, or got hurt yesterday, coaches gonna be like, oh well, he's hurt, so we gotta take him out. So if I hear that Randall the team because he got hurt, I'm gonna have a problem because now it's you know what for you know what. It's LOL you know what, and I don't want to go down that road. But it's just like, come on, like why do y'all people go out of y'all way to like yeah, I dare them to leave Julius out because the timeline will be on fire.
And you know what? It'll be antithetical to the league's mandate that they want players to play more. This is a dude who could have took off the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season and made sure his ankle was 100% right before he started playing and didn't work himself into shape and have the quote unquote worst 2-week stretch in the history of the NBA. And you take that 2 weeks out and the numbers are like no question. They leave no doubt that he should be maybe a fringe starter and a definite reserve. So I do think Adam Silver's gonna fold in his replacement anyway. Allow that to happen. Yes. And then we know it's gonna be Trae Young. Adam is putting Trae Young in that game. And this is probably the best case scenario. Not that people want an injury. I'm just saying that a way to get him in when he knows that he's probably not going to get voted in by the fans or the players, and he's not getting voted in by the coaches. So, yeah, I think this would work out for everybody. Julius gets his 3 All-Star nods, can show up to the game as an All-Star, and whoever the reserve is can be picked tomorrow, right? So, yeah, so we definitely vibe one off, but I think we vibe in the East. We can go to the West now, and I can tell you this one was tough for me. This one was tough. This was like, yo, who do you choose? Like, I don't know. I want to see. I think this one is going to be really interesting. All right, let's start. I'll let you start again. Who's your 2 definite at guard?
At guard, I have. Hold on, I just had this written down. I have Curry. I have Steph Curry and Luka Doncic.
Luka's starting.
That's right. Duh. Okay, that actually makes it easier because Lucas. Okay, then I'll move one of these. I'll move one of these guards. Curry and Devin Booker.
Okay. I have my definites are Ant Edwards and Devin Booker.
Okay.
I think you got to reward the number one seed. They didn't get there by osmosis, and it wasn't like by committee. You feel me? Like he was somebody at the first couple of months, 6 weeks of the season, like before the IST hit the streets like Reaganomics in the 80s. You know, he was balling out. He was balling. He's still balling out. But I have to reward that and reward winning by giving him a definite spot. Same thing with Booker. The way their season was looking and all the injuries and the Suns looking shaky. Now they've course corrected. They've course corrected for the most part. They got Beal back, and right now what they got a top 6 seed. I didn't think they would be 28-20 right now the way they're looking, and they've been able to right it. So I like Booker. I like Booker in that spot. So we both got Booker. I had Ant as a def. You have Steph, which I'm not going to argue that. I'm not going to argue that at all. But I think we're going to have an interesting discussion once we get through this. Who's your three def front court?
Kawhi, Paul George, Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Can't really. That was actually
probably
easy
the easiest one.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, although Beard getting to the Clippers definitely set them right and they won all those games in a row. They did lose 5 straight. I believe they went on like a 5-game losing streak or something like that beforehand. They went on a losing streak and then they righted the ship. But they were looking good before that trade. And part of the reason why was Paul George and Kawhi early on were just going ham. So I like that. And then AD, you look at all the numbers, you watch this man play, there's no argument. There's no argument. They're like, you got to put that man in. You got to put that man in. He's part of the reasons why they're as like treading above water, the Lakers are, as anything else. All right. Who's your 2 wild cards?
So I got Anthony Edwards as a wild card. The last spot was tough, and I was flip-flopping between 3 guys. And one guy nobody wants to see. That's Rudy Gobert.
Oh man.
Let's keep it real now. You get me, right? So it was between Gobert, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. And if I wanted to do roster balance, then I would lean toward the big. And if I say no one see Gobert, then it'll be Sabonis. So I will take Sabonis with the last spot.
All right. So wow, we kind of fell on the same. We got to the destination in different ways, but we got to the same destination because my wild cards are Steph and Sabonis.
Okay, yeah, we kind of got.
We kind of got there. Yeah, so Sabonis, him once again. I reward winning, and right now the Kings are the 5th seed. They've been hovering between like in that middle range. And I looked at my tiebreaker was I compared Sabonis to his peers and I compared Fox to his, which is guards versus front court. And Sabonis's numbers against the front court are way more comparable and like way more outstanding than Fox's are to his peers. And that doesn't mean like he's having a bad season. I'm just saying like Sabonis is leading his among forwards. Forward centers, whatever. I think he's leading in assists. He's leading in assists. He's up there in rebounds. He's for what he isn't giving in points. He's playing a total game. And just when you line up those numbers, that was like the tiebreaker for me. And Steph, because he's Steph, call it nepotism, call it name recognition, call it whatever. But my one rationale where I think I saw John Hollinger was talking about how he wasn't putting Steph on his all-star ballot. My rationale, and this is the big Drewski hands for me, if I'm gonna put 2 people, if 2 people from the Lakers who are a game under 500 are in this game, who am I to hold out Steph because they lost 3 more games? I can't do that. And no one else is making a definitive argument to say you cannot have Steph in this game. Plus, he's gonna be there anywhere fighting for his life against Sabrina Ionesco in that 3-point contest. So you better let that man stay until Sunday and play that game. And then I do reward winning. I do like reward winning. I do like looking at the totality. I also do have the fan enjoyment factor in it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could say, well, you should have voted him in as a starter, but I think about it all. Certain greats you cannot have left out, and Steph is one of them in the West.
Mm-hmm. No pushback from me.
Yeah. So
I just want to say one thing.
What's up?
Paolo Banchero should not be in the All-Star game. His efficiency stats are similar to RJ Barrett year 2. His numbers are very similar. They're very similar. Now, on the flip side, you could make the argument that he had this Randall role from the We Here season. Like, he needs a better ball handle, whatever. But I just think people think like he's just like a bona fide slam dunk All-Star. I'm like, nah. We can move on now.
Oh yeah, no, that was definitely capped. That was definitely capped. But yeah, I'm more interested in anything to see what's going to happen with the East reserves and whether or not the coaches are going to give reward Randall for his performance prior to the injury. All right, before we get out of here, Knicks setting these records in January, man. You talk about what the Knicks have done. 15.4 point differential, 10th best month in NBA history. They won 10 games by 15 plus points, including beating both NBA Finals competitors by 15 plus points. Number one in rebounding, offensive rebounding, number one in defensive rating, which would be number one in the league just in January alone. And they're 29th in pace, so they're controlling it. It's been belt to ass this season, the whole month of January. What's the one factor that you have for that, Shawn?
Honestly, the OG Anunoby trade was the move that this team desperately needed and allowed so many things to fall into place. It's like I say, it's like shout out to my man Doran that said all the time. When you have a number one wide receiver, it puts everyone in their place. An example he always gave was Amari Cooper with the Cowboys. Like, was Amari Cooper like top 5, top 10 wide receiver? No. But once you have him there, defensive coordinators have to game plan for him, and now the dude that you had number 1 could go to number 2 and has number 2's guard and whatever.
Yep.
Like, OG there allows Dante DiVincenzo to shoot passing lanes, to play pass lanes, get steals, play off the ball, things like that. He can roam, pick and roll. We can switch it. Like this team has just become locked in defensively. It went from like 28th in the league in defensive rating in January to 1st this month. We got guys that like Amina Hassan said, like, got a guy that think the game, play the game very well, play the game at a high level, know where to be, know what to do, know the things that's necessary. Man, listen, and we're gonna add Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson back to the team. Listen, man, I'm not gonna jump all the way out the window, but I got one foot out there.
You feel the air, you feel the breeze on your foot, right? You can feel the breeze. You let your pants.
The window was open. The window's open, and I'm like,
in winter. So you know it's real. Yeah, they're doing amazing, man. And I'm eager to see what February brings. I can't wait for this team to be full strength, and I'm just waiting for the last Infinity Stone. I'm waiting for what is the last stone that we're gonna get? Is it soul, or we're gonna have to sacrifice somebody with the soul? Do we snatch the space one? Do we snatch one off of Vision's head? Which one do we do? So which one are the Knicks going to accomplish in order to complete this team? Because contrary to what people believe, I do think the Knicks need to make one more move for depth purposes, for ball content creation. That's hilarious. Yeah, we need a social media manager that can also run an offense and hit an outside shot. But with ball creation, defense, all of that, I think the Knicks need that in order to make this move. Knicks-Pacers tonight. Quentin Grimes, they say that he's out. Waiting on news about OG Anunoby. So hopefully, the triage unit is going to be in the building once more. This is what we have to do. We'll see if February, if Black History Month rocks out more than the month of January for the Knicks. Shawn, tell the people where they can find you.
Follow me on Twitter at Shawn with a W_. The underscore is very important. I'll be doing a watch along on Knicks Film School tonight for the Pacer game. You can watch on follow on YouTube. If you're a Patreon, you can follow on Play. I pull up on Hoop Spaces on Playback Sunday, Monday through Friday, 10 to 12 to talk cash shit. And yeah, that's where I'll be at. And
are you doing the hate watch?
That I'm trying to figure out the hate watch with Hawks Fan TV. We're gonna figure out a game that we're gonna get together and just hate. It's probably involve the Raptors.
I love it. That's going to be awesome. All right. You locked in with us. Pickup Game, our weekly talk about the NBA, about the Knicks, and everything in between. I'm Jeff Johnson. Thank you for locking in with us. Jeff J Says is the YouTube channel. Like this video if you love what you're hearing. Subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We out of here. We'll talk to you soon.